Hey everybody, this is Brandon Ford and welcome to the Blind Rage podcast. For this week's TV episode, we are returning to the crypt for Jon Lovitz in Top Billing from season 3. I believe this is episode 5. And if you want to watch along, feel free to do so. I am using an upload from my DVD because for some strange reason, and I take care of my shit, okay? I've always taken care of my DVDs, my Blu-rays, everything. I'm not somebody who just leaves shit lying around. But for some reason, some of my Tales from the Crypt discs are freezing. I don't know if it is the player or if it's the disc, or I don't know. But nevertheless, these are, because I upload a lot of stuff onto hard drives, so I'm using an upload from the disc. So let's just say I'm using the DVD as a source. So if you want to watch along, you can do that. You can use that, or you can watch it on YouTube. And before we get into the episode, I want to encourage you to please go to Amazon.com or the Amazon app to check out my books. Just type in Brandon Ford in the search box. Several of my titles in paperback and Kindle editions will pop up, as well as my Amazon author page. You can also find my books in audiobook format by going to the Audible app or audible.com, typing in Brandon Ford. You can follow me on Instagram if you don't already, at writer Brandon Ford, all one word. You can also follow me on Twitter at Brandon Ford. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, suggestions, opinions, recommendations, you can email me directly at blindragepod81@gmail.com. Last but not least, please take a second and give the podcast a quick rating, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a couple seconds just to hit the drop down and select a star rating. And whichever platform you're listening on, please give a star rating because it gets the show some exposure. All right. So we are going to begin with a 3 count, and let's hope that I don't fuck this up. All right. 3, 2, 1, play. This is an episode that I've been putting off recording for a while. Not because I don't like it. It's actually one of my favorite episodes of the series. But because I already recorded a commentary for this episode, and for some unknown reason, it just up and disappeared. I have no idea. I've searched high and low. It's nowhere to be found. And the same thing happened a couple weeks ago when I recorded a feature commentary. I don't know what happened, but it didn't record. So I wish I could say that I've had, I've had more hits than misses, don't get me wrong, but I wish I could say that this hasn't happened anywhere near as many times as it has, because I've definitely lost episodes, recorded episodes, or thought I was recording episodes when there was some kind of malfunction, and none of this is interesting. I don't know why I'm going on about this. So I'm recording this after I recorded the Beauty Rest episode with Mimi Rogers and Kathy Ireland, which is essentially a remake of this episode. It follows almost the exact same story, only this one involves male characters and is a lot better and makes a bit more sense, I think. But we have Jon Lovitz in the lead, And we have John Astin, who is fantastic in this episode. Paul Benedict, amazing character actor. Here's Sandra Bernhard. I always had issues with this opening scene because it's kind of nonsensical. Because we find out that it is supposed to be an audition for the character Jon Lovitz is playing. And she's supposed to be running lines with him. However, she is doing this whole monologue and actually, putting feeling and emotion in her delivery of the dialogue. And, slamming the phone down and following stage direction. That's most likely included in the script. And it just doesn't make any sense. And then you find out that it's a fake out. And
Where's Jenny?
Jenny's dead.
Here he is.
And you're next, bitch.
I love Jon Lovitz, but I can't.
The silent scream was the loudest.
I can't buy him as a killer.
That's it?
Yeah, you're terrific, but you're not quite what I'm looking
This episode has a really good cast.
I'm an actor.
for. I need someone.
Despite Sandra Bernhard. But we also have Louise Fletcher, who's only in it for one scene. She's playing his agent.
I
We
know,
have Bruce Boxleitner.
but you're wrong for the part.
And
Killer.
How's this? I don't have any money. I have
we have Kelly, whatever her name is. I don't remember. But every time I see this episode, I think of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, because she played Kathy, who worked at GAW with Christina Applegate's character Sue Ellen, and she was the more qualified applicant for the executive administrative assistant position, and she was actually doing all of Sue Ellen's work for her. She has a teeny tiny part here as Jon Lovitz's character's now ex-girlfriend. We're about to see her in a second.
Barry.
Oh, no.
Barry Bly.
There's Bruce Boxleitner.
I'm fine. How the hell are you?
It really is amazing how close
Hey, remember that?
Beauty Rest, the Beauty Rest episode follows this episode. And even down to the show business
You can't still be angry with me because I work for a living. Oh, sure I can.
plot or premise or concept. I'm a writer. I should know the difference between these things. And
This business doesn't have anything to do
I
with
think it's also interesting how,
an actor is one who acts,
you know,
one who collects on get away, just spend a little less money on classes and more on some decent clothes and maybe some blue collar.
Bruce's character,
You might work for a change. Yeah, well, I've seen your work,
Wynton, there we go, forgot his name. Wynton has been successful in television commercials, and Wynton is Leon's, I think that's his name,
I got 50 grand
or
last
the
year in one spot alone. I don't do.
yeah, he's his rival. Well, he's not even.
This is Hamlet.
See, just like Kathy Ireland's character in Beauty Rest, he is
What the hell can I
not.
down there?
He is an inadvertent rival because Jon Lovitz resents his success, and it seems as though that Wynton is getting all the roles that Leon feels he's entitled to or he deserves because he's the better actor. Barry, that's his name. Leon was the character's name. Here's Louise Fletcher, and they don't really give her much to do. As incredible an actress as she is, all she does is sit behind a desk. And I'm wondering, because she does nothing but floss her teeth for the duration of the scene, which is disgusting. But I think it is an interesting choice for her character to be doing while she is interacting with him, because not only does it give her, not only is it more interesting than her just sitting there behind the desk, but it shows her disinterest in in Barry. Really, it shows her disinterest in him as a client. It shows her disinterest in him as a career, and as the trajectory of
I've got expenses.
his
So I think it's time you find some representation more suitable to your needs.
his career, and yeah, there's a similar scene too with that with Beauty Rest, where Mimi Rogers, who is basically the female equivalent of Barry, and she's arguing with her agent about how she's not getting the role she feels she's entitled to. This really, Beauty Rest really is almost beat for beat a remake of this. It's really incredible that it actually
Use the goddamn freight elevator, asshole.
passed.
I just climbed 5 flights.
So
Yo! That's my stereo.
the Barry character
My apartment.
is
What do you think you're doing?
one
Lisa, what's going
is a
on?
character who is sort of common on Tales from the Crypt. He is the underdog. He is a character who is
You're a loser.
trampled on either personally or professionally, and he snaps and does something that he wouldn't ordinarily do, and ultimately gets his comeuppance.
Bruno?
So yeah, that's something, because Tales from the Crypt definitely followed a lot of the same
I love you.
plot lines, as I've said before.
Look, we gotta go.
But there are certain characters who are identical to others, but at the same time, there are certain episodes that are a little more well executed than others, regardless of their cliched or overused or oft used plot devices.
You are a loser.
So Barry is about to, I don't know exactly what he hopes to accomplish here by auditioning for Hamlet, when it's clear that this is a theater in the middle of nowhere, and it's more than likely a non-paying gig, and it's not going to pay the bills, and he's just gotten evicted. So I would think that his priorities would be more on finding a place to live than getting a role in a play that nobody will see. I don't know. I think it's a little far-fetched that Winton shows up at the same time,
Doing here? I'm here to audition.
and he says he's here to prove a point.
I came down to make a point to you. I bet you stayed up all night reading the play. You're damn right I did. You don't walk into a Hamlet audition cold, you idiot. It's poetry, for Christ's sake. The part requires an actor, Winton, not a face. Fine. And had this been a theater, I bet you I would have gotten the part. I'll see you around, Barry.
Here's Paul Benedict. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's got to be wearing a wig.
Hamlet? No, it's Shangri-La.
He's so funny. Everything he does, he's fucking hilarious.
Audition? Yes.
I love it when Winton
Well, don't just stand around.
goes to enter, and Beeks, his character's name is, he kind of like, brushes up against him, And then he says, ouch, as he closes the door.
Poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio.
John Astin fucking kills it in this
He had
episode because he is so
no! It's wrong!
delightfully insane and over the top and everything this character should be.
Is holding in his hands the skull of Yorick. He sees what 20 years of rotting in the ground have done to his friend. That is why he is so upset. Who? Yorick? Oh, no, you dunce! Hamlet. Hamlet. You pick up the skull. You look at it. You talk to it.
So,
You even kiss it.
what I don't remember
Kiss it. Oh,
in,
kiss it. But it's plastic.
because I can't see the screen, I always feel compelled to say that because this is the Blind Rage podcast. But one thing that I don't really remember about this episode, and I've seen it a million times, like I said, it's one of my absolute favorites, but I don't remember if there is actual seating, if this is a real stage, or if this is, and there is seating, why? Because this, spoiler alert, is a mental institution, and the inmates have taken over by killing the staff, which consists of one person, apparently. And
Jesus. That is one tough director. He's demanding. I respect that.
so,
Excuse me.
and where they got all this costume, these costumings, this costume for
Who broke my concentration? Everyone! Everyone! Out of my sight!
he's so good.
You two, come to my office.
And you don't really know, because he claims to be this world-renowned director, and they've never heard of him, and you don't really know,
Director of stage and screen.
you don't really know if he really is or was prior to being committed, or if he is just delusional.
Auditioned for Hamlet, and, well, as you can see, I'm highly qualified for the part. I have extensive qualifications. I've done the part in several workshops, and I know the entire role by heart.
Do you? And do you know that we are planning the most stirring production of Hamlet ever? I want to bring to the stage a Hamlet that will look and feel.
I think it's interesting too that this whole thing is so rushed because it's all being cast and performed on the same day.
It's all yours, Barry. Break a leg. Break both.
You,
Yes.
high cheekbones, fair skin, slightly frosted hair. You must be Danish.
Actually, I'm Polish.
Perfect, I knew it. The part is yours.
What? What?
I said, young man, the part is yours.
I thought you were leaving. Not anymore. I'm Hamlet. But you didn't even read him. You don't even know if he can read.
Hannibal has chosen. Young man, there's a dressing room for you down the hall.
But this is Hamlet. How can you cast this asshole?
He has the look.
Having the look is the equivalent of
What'd I tell you, Barry?
in Beauty Rest
Anything about this play? Oh, I know one thing.
um
The part.
having what's inside, because that is what's repeated over and over again in Beauty Rest is it's what's inside that counts. You know, you'll be selling yourself, who you are inside, blah, blah, blah. And in this one, it is having the right look. And because it is so insisted upon that these actors have the right look, in particular for this role, one would assume, or one is led to assume, that it's a physical presence. And the look is actually the bone structure of the skull, which is what they need for Yorick. When Hamlet finds Yorick's skull and starts talking to it, and there's some hints and suggestions to it when John Astin's character, I think his name is Nelson Hallowell, says that he wants to do a production of Hamlet that seems and feels so real. And realism is having a genuine skull.
I hope you learned something today, Barry.
Now here is when, okay, I have to say this first. This is when Barry loses his mind and, you know, begins choking Winton, but I could only assume that they told Winton not to wear underwear beneath his costume, because while he's being strangled, and I think that's right now, there is little to nothing left of the imagination in those tight pants. And yeah, he's not Hamlet. And see, he just realized that the costume was for Yorick, which kind of makes no sense, because if all they need for Yorick is a skull, why is there a whole costume? And how big is this sanitarium? Because you don't really see much until Barry starts to flee from who he discovers are madmen. That there is an office where an administrator, I guess, has been killed. And that phone that you hear ringing never fucking stops. And what you would think is, if the phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing all day long, it's clear that there's something wrong, there's something going on. And why did they wait until after everything has transpired to send the police? Oh.
Where's your friend? He should be on the stage this instant.
I'm afraid he left, Mr. Hallowell.
Left? A Hallowell production?
I love it when
He was totally blue.
Barry says, you know, I can give you what you want. And Nelson goes, no, 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 yes.
I suggest myself for the part, sir.
No, you're all wrong. You don't have the look.
I'm an actor, Mr. Hallowell. I can give you what you want.
No. Yes. Slightly. Well, the part is yours. Beaks.
You mean it? I cast?
Yes. Show our new member to his dressing room, Beaks.
You won't regret it, Mr. Hallowell.
We open.
speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it,
You get
as many of your players are
you get a
wise,
bit of the
I had his
comedic
leaf,
Jon
the
Lovitz.
town crier spoke my lines.
Hey, wait.
I had his leaf, the town crier spoke my lines.
Sounds very much like Jon Lovitz doing the critic.
Kind of run through. Haven't had rehearsal yet.
Huh. Well, you won't need much rehearsing.
Hamlet is a complicated role. I can't do it without rehearsal.
Who said you were playing Hamlet? I'm playing Hamlet. Didn't you see me out there before, holding up a plastic skull? Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio.
Oh,
Did you tag the costumes as I instructed?
Yes, your bastardness.
your bastardness.
I spy.
Well, if I'm not playing Hamlet, what role am I playing? Yorick? Yorick's been dead 23 years before the play starts.
We've had a hell of a time casting the part.
Someone keeps stealing the skull.
That's crazy. Biggs, help me.
Certainly, sir. Just slip into this hood.
Things take a very dark turn here. And that phone.
Fucking nuts.
I don't know how he got keys. I missed that part. And here we find out where he really is. I don't remember the name of the actual asylum. Pick up the phone.
Hello. Thank goodness. We've been trying to call you for hours. Dr. Morrison, are you there? Hello?
So this whole thing has
How you feel?
happened
I really wanted to
within the span of a few hours,
Dr. Morrison, are you all right?
I guess.
Your friend looked much more the part. But don't worry. It's showtime!
Now, see, I don't understand here if they're actually performing in front of an audience. See, because I don't know if there's a fucking
Friend of infinite jest.
if there's seating.
I was wrong about the young man. He does have the look after all. Imagination it is. My gorge rises at it.
Here come the.
We haven't heard any more screams. That doesn't mean there aren't any hostages. I want you all to be extremely careful in there. We go in 30 seconds. We read you stand by in position. Big bar, big bar.
Here come the police. And now, oh. What the hell was that? I never noticed that before. Sound like somebody laughing. You think the dog sniffing what remains of Barry's head.
Bravo! Encore! Well, Barry asked for the part and he got it. But typical Barry, they still couldn't use his face. It's just as well. The critics would have cut him to pieces. I'm calling my waited all my death to play the part of Yorick. So until next time, kiddies. Hello? I'd like to speak with my agent. What do you mean he's in a beating?
Well, that was top billing. As always, thanks for staying with me to the bitter end, and I hope you'll join me for more commentaries on the Blind Rage podcast. Until next time, this is Brandon Ford wishing you all unpleasant dreams.